Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the public statement hearing on the Veolia Water New York Inc. rate proceeding, case 23-W-0111. Please note, your line is muted upon entry. The hearing will begin shortly at 1 p.m. If you're experiencing any technical difficulties, please call 1-800-342-3330. This proceeding will be live streamed on the DPS website. Thank you.
Thank you, Sangeeta. It's 1 o'clock, everybody. Mr. McClain, are you ready?
Yes, Your Honor. We are on the record.
Okay. I call case 23W-0111, proceeding on motion of the Commission as to the rates, charges, rules, and regulations of Veolia Water New York Incorporated for water service. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael Clark. I'm an administrative law judge for the Department of Public Service. With me today is Administrative Law Judge Ashley Moreno. Together, we are responsible for presiding over the hearings in this case and developing a complete record throughout the proceeding. We're also joined by Sangeeta Kailas and Esmond Anderson Brown from the Department's Office of Consumer Services, who will be providing technical assistance. This is a public statement hearing for which a notice was issued on April 14th, 2023. The hearing concerns proposed changes in the water delivery rates and practices of Veolia Water New York Incorporated. More specifically, Veolia seeks to increase its delivery revenues by approximately $18.4 million in the New York District and by $14.1 million in the Westchester District. Pursuant to Veolia's proposal, the New York District would be comprised of customers in the former Suez Water New York system, the former Suez Owego Nickel system, and the Heritage Hill system. The Westchester District would be comprised of customers in Rate District 1 and Rate District 2 of the former Suez Water Westchester system. Under New York State law, the Public Service Commission must consider a utility's proposal and may adopt it or reject it in whole or in part, or modify it. We're holding this hearing today so you can provide your comments on Veolia's proposal for the Commission's consideration. The Commission consists of 7 members: the Chairperson, Rory Christian, and Commissioners Diane Berman, James Alisi, Tracy Edwards, John Howard, David Valesky, and John Majori. We're fortunate this afternoon to have Commissioner Majori with us. Would you like to make any comments, Commissioner?
Thank you, Judge Clark. I just want to thank anyone who has joined us today to participate. As a commissioner, I value public input that we get through these sessions, and I look forward to what people have to say. You're not here to hear me. I'm here to listen to you. So I just, once again, would like to reiterate my thanks for you participating in this process. And that's it on my end, Judge Clark. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. As I stated earlier, the purpose of today's hearing is to provide you with an opportunity to tell the Commission your thoughts on the proposal. It is not an evidentiary hearing or a question and answer session, but a forum to hear comments from you. Any statements you make today will become part of the case record. We have a court reporter on the line who will prepare a transcript of the hearing, which will be included in the official record of this proceeding, so that your comments can be considered by all members of the Commission. When it's ready, the transcript will be available for view on the Department of Public Service website. I'd like to stress that this is not the only opportunity for comment. If you did not register to speak at today's hearing, but you would like your views included in the record, there are a variety of other ways to comment that were listed in the public notice for today's event. You can do so by submitting comments on the department's website, by email, by regular mail, or by phone. Regardless of how comments are submitted, they will be given equal consideration. Turning back to today, We have 12 people registered to speak. We will not impose a time limit, but I do request that you provide your statement in a reasonable amount of time and try to avoid repeating yourself. When we call your name, we will unmute your line and notify you that you've been unmuted. Please remember that if you've put your own line on mute, you will also have to unmute your end before you begin to speak. Please state your name and speak slowly and clearly so that the court reporter can accurately record your statement. If you're speaking on behalf of an organization, please also provide the organization's name. All right, we're ready to begin. Just so everybody knows what to expect, I believe in the chat box, the order of people in which I intend to call them is listed. If people aren't here, then I may jump around, but that might be helpful for you to look at to see when you can expect to be called upon. Our first registered speaker is Robert Tompkins.
Hello. Thank you, Honorable Judges, Administrative Law Judges, and Honorable Commissioner. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity and the public to share what our thoughts are regarding this rate case. I've actually been a party to several cases before, and my background is as presently a retired certified public accountant with a master's degree in public administration. And I've also been with California municipalities, a senior budget analyst and a senior administrative analyst. So I'm looking at this case from an analytical point of view. However, I just want to focus philosophically as well as to what the obligation should be of Rockland customers in terms of paying for other small water systems costs. Thus, I object to the idea of bringing in an upstate water system, which is the Owens-Nichols one in particular, and I think there's a second one. I can sympathize with small water systems in terms of the costs, particularly with the mitigation for water treatment with PFAS and PFOS. I could see that for one well in that upstate small water system cost $3.3 million. I don't know what the future will bring. I think philosophically, it's unfair to expect the New York district to have to assume costs outside traditionally what has been the district. And you wonder, why is it that Veolia has said that or proposed that Rockland County customers should be paying for it? Why not Westchester companies? And I'm understanding from the testimony of the vice president that that may be a future proposal. Thus, it's a slippery slope in the sense where the company appears to be heading to have one uniform rate throughout all the districts, including, I guess, Putnam County, and Westchester, and Orange County, and Rockland, and upstate counties as well. Philosophically, I disagree with it. I think it's blatantly unfair. Rockland County customers, according to the state controls report from several years ago, some years ago, are among the highest water rates in the state of New York. And given that there's these small systems have to incur high costs, particularly with the PFAS and probably other costs as well. As you may know, it can cost as much as $1 million to dig a well. It's very disconcerting when you have upstate, in this case, about 5,500 customers, while in Rockland County, we have 108,000. We should only be paying for what we are consuming. And this is only going to increase the cost to Rockland. And I can understand what they're trying to do in terms of harmonizing the rates for upstate, but it's making it more affordable for them. And unfortunately, there's many grants available from the federal government and the state government that private utilities do not qualify for. If they were municipal system, and I'm understanding there's 5 municipalities upstate, if they were a municipal system, they could be applying for those grants from the federal government and the state government. Unfortunately, it appears that private entities cannot do that. Thus, it's becoming a burden, more of a burden for them in terms of higher costs for water. And it's blatantly unfair for Rockland customers to have to absorb some of that. So I am bringing this subject up that I hope that there's a special emphasis in analyzing it and looking at philosophically what it's about, and also that the impact on costs, and why aren't they not including Westchester districts as well if they're going to go down that route? It's unfair. And just to finally mention that, as you are probably aware, that we have a surcharge because of the failed Haverstraw desalination plant. So we have that going too. I'm not really clear if they would be sharing those costs, but that's kind of moot in a way. We should be paying that. Rockland should be paying that, not other entities. So again, I thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts, and I hope the Commission and the Department of Public Service takes a close look at the idea of other districts paying for upstate small water systems. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Tompkins. Our next speaker is Lori Wheelock.
Yes, good afternoon, Administrative Law Judges Moreno and Clark, and thank you, Commissioner Majori, for being present today. My name is Lori Wheelock. I'm the Executive Director and Counsel for the Public Utility Law Project. We go by PULP for short, and my pronouns are she, hers. PULP is a 40-year-old nonprofit with the mission of educating, advocating, and litigating on behalf of New York's low-income utility customers. We thank the Department of Public Service for the opportunity to testify today in relation to Veolia Water New York's pending rate case. We have submitted our status request to become a party to the water rate case, but as a small nonprofit and intervener in 3 existing energy rate cases, several policy proceedings before the department and NYSERDA, as well as all of our work helping low-income customers with direct cases, we do not know whether or not we'll be able to submit the level of testimony PULP traditionally seeks to achieve when participating in a rate case. Today, though, I wanted to focus on 3 specific issues that we are concerned about. The first being affordability in light of the proposed rate increase, the development of the low-income water assistance program, which we see as vital, and austerity measures. To begin, we are concerned about affordability. During the technical conference, and we thank Veolia for identifying this, they had a slide about customer impacts, and the proposals are as follows. For Rockland and Orange counties, customers could see up to 19 cents per day more on their water rates. For the city of Rybrook and Portchester and Westchester County, that could be 38 cents per day. Other parts of Westchester, 39 cents per day. Heritage Hills, 20 cents per day, and Owego, 51 cents per day. We ask the department staff strictly scrutinize these proposed rates to be as careful as possible with how we proceed. The truth is the public cannot afford to wait much longer when it comes to the low-income discount program, especially in light of the proposed rates being as high as they are. Formerly, Suez received a 4-year rate case in July 2020. Back then, the company was tasked by the commission with identifying low-income customers for the purpose of being enrolled one day in this monthly discount program. The company has been filing reports on their progress, which PULP is reviewing now. The language that was put into the joint proposal did not provide, though, any guidance for what this future low-income plan would look like. The company was not required to provide any further information about the creation or the actual steps to institute the plan or how it would work. Again, we're reviewing all the reports, but the one thing that struck us as a good step forward is the company has started to identify low-income customers. As of December 2022, Veolia had 1,999 accounts qualified through the Low-Income Housing Water Assistance Program, or LIWAP. But that's only about 1.78% of their residential customer base. So again, Pulp is just concerned. We see that the commission has given Suez and now Veolia, orders to move forward and start identifying customers, but especially in light of the rate increases being what they are proposed, Pulp strongly encourages that a workable, implementable low-income discount program be approved in this rate case so that it can start helping low-income customers as quickly as possible. Something that Pulp will be offering is recommendations and examples. Since all the electric and gas regulated utilities do have applications for their own low-income discount programs, we'll be assisting the company by providing examples on how to put out a program and actually enroll people in it as quickly as possible. The last item I wanted to discuss was austerity measures. The company maintains in its filing that the proposed rates are necessary due to recent increases and various costs outside of its control, and to ensure that it can continue to deliver safe, adequate, and reliable water service. But Pulp counters that with this request, Veolia should be required to explicitly share with the public what austerity measures it's willing to take to help keep costs down for customers. With society and everything the way it is right now, people are being asked to do more with less. And we ask that the utility also find ways that it can do more with less. Thank you so much for the opportunity to testify today.
Thank you, Ms. Wheelock. Our next registered speaker is Terry Thal, T-H-A-L. I do not see Terry Thal on the list of speakers who are participating electronically. If Terry Thal is a call-in user, please press *3 on your phone. We can identify you and unmute you and allow you to make your statement. Again, Terry Thal, if you're participating by phone, please press *3.
No raised hand, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on and we'll come back to Terry Thal. The next registered speaker is Susan Shapiro.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for holding this hearing. I am, for the first time, at a party. I've been accepted as a party. I submitted comments, and I'm waiting for answers. I have concerns, first of all, about how this hearing was how people were able to sign up for this hearing. The WebEx system, for some reason, it was very complicated. You had to go back and forth between documents. If this is a public hearing, I ask that you make this simple for people to participate. This was not simple. Many people I know wanted to participate were unable to because the WebEx system was down when they tried to register, or they couldn't figure out how to go back to the various documents. It wasn't simple. That's my point. And I'm asking, it should be. There's no reason it shouldn't be. I'm an attorney in Rockland County. I was born in Rockland County. My father was born in Rockland County. My family's been there for many generations. And I am concerned that the PSC doesn't have the expertise to deal with Rockland County's unique water situation, and possibly doesn't understand or know even about the history of Rockland County's water, because it's very unique and it's different than pretty much every other water system in the state, maybe even in the country. I'm just going to give a quick summary here, so in case you don't know, that the whole basis of Rockland County's water is that we are only allowed to get our water from within our boundaries, because when the New York City watershed was built, Rockland County opted out. And so Rockland, and for that option that they opted out of participating in that system, they are not allowed to import water from any parts of the New York City watershed which surround them. So therefore, we're limited to our waters within our boundaries. What is going on right now in Rockland County is unprecedented growth, uncontrolled and unprecedented growth. And we understand that, you know, Veolia Suez is a company that is a conglomerate that is interested in making a profit, and that they will present to you for your approval proposals, infrastructure proposals, capital improvements on which they can put a value added increase, a percentage profit on top of that, because that's in their interest. That's in their interest. And their interest also is just adding on new customers without considering the sustainability of our water system. Because for them, we have heard them even say, if it doesn't matter if it gets polluted or if you run out of water, there'll be an infrastructure costs that will be transferred back to the Rockland County ratepayers that will solve that problem. Well, we don't want to spend the money. I think we as the consumers and as the people who are reliant on this single water supply have a right for you to protect us. That's your job. You're the Public Service Commission. And I understand from your mission statement that your role is to ensure that there are just and reasonable rates while protecting the natural environment. What's going on right now is there is no protection of the natural environment of our watershed. There's no even control over how many willingness to serve letters are being given by Veolia. Anyone who comes to them is given a willingness to serve letter, and there's no tracking of which letters have been given, waiting for it to be built or not. And they continue to give out letters without the consideration that we have a finite water supply. And there's this history of this finite water supply that put us in the situation we are in now of paying exorbitant monies for the failed desal plant fiasco, which the PSC approved, even though it was found that there was no need at that time to increase our water supply. And it was a pilot plant on which we, the Rockland County ratepayers, are paying full board plus interest. So one of my questions I'd like an answer to in my comments, in my questions that I submitted, is Veolia being able to profit off that fiasco as well? And we're very concerned that other cases like that, other capital projects are going to come your way from Veolia, and we will be left holding a bill. And that's not what we want. What we want is to work with you to develop a sustainable plan for Rockland County. And the other thing I want to raise to you as a history point that's very important for you to understand why there is such a deep concern right now with this very large rate increase, and also this merger of Rockland County into other water systems so that we'll potentially be paying other people's expenses, is that when the desal plant fiasco happened, Ms. Zibel, who was the chair at the time, was very clear that the PSC told Suez that they needed to participate in the water task force in Rockland County. But then they walked away, and there was no oversight by the PSC. They just absolutely walked away. They've not participated in anything. And therefore, there has been no planning for a Rockland County sustainable Rockland County water system. And so I really am urging you to take this moment and really let us have a real discussion over what is a sustainable water system. Is a sustainable water system maybe not an endless water supply? Maybe we have a finite water supply, and we in Rockland County can only build out to what our water supply is. That is a possibility. That's a real truth, actually, that we all need to adopt and look at, because we are not allowed to get water elsewhere. We cannot get water from the Hudson River, which is, I do want to, which in the pilot plant, there was found to be radiation on both sides of the reverse osmosis membrane. So that happened before the planned dumping of 1.2 million gallons of tritiated water into the Hudson. This is another issue I want you all to think about, because here the PSC is on the decommissioning oversight board for Indian Point. The plan is to dump 1.2 million gallons. The plan that Holtec, the company that now owns Indian Point, wants to dump 1.2 million gallons of of tritiated radioactive water into the Hudson River, 2.5 miles north of the Havistraw Bay, where the desal plan was proposed. The PSC had never took the desal project off the table. It is still considered an option that if they come back, if Veolia comes back and says we need more water, that can be restarted, that desal proposal. For many reasons, it's probably a ridiculous plan, but in any event, the PSC has left it on the table. So I'm asking that the PSC urgently, immediately take it off the table, and simultaneously oppose with every bit of its power the dumping of the 1.2 million gallons of tritiated water into the Hudson River. The PSC is on the decommissioning board. New York State, just to give you a little background on that nuclear issue, New York State does have rights, especially because we are an agreement state with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, which means we're allowed to protect our natural resources, specifically the Hudson River. So I'm asking that you take a proactive position on that. Going back to this rate case, which is the main topic of discussion, this all goes into the rate case, because if in fact they're asking for this very large increase, we're talking about 14% increase of rates in a 1 year period, and potentially more, doubling or tripling that over the next 2 to 3 years. That's a problem for Rockland County users. We already pay the highest water rates in the state. That has to be factored into any consideration of an increase. We have a system that is not being properly managed, as far as I'm concerned. We have a system where there was a study done regarding the Evergreen fire, where sadly there were 2 deaths caused by the lack of pressure, which your study doesn't find. And the fire department has sent you a report, and there's been no response to that report. So I think before we move forward on any rate increases, we need to have a full, comprehensive discussion about the state of Rockland's water and the state of how Veolia is managing that water. So those are my big concerns. And I have an overriding concern also, is I understand that your expertise are in rates. I understand that it's primarily gas and electric rates that you focus on, that's your bailiwick. That's what you really work on. Water issues are different. Water issues are, you have to protect wetlands, you have to protect watersheds, you have to look at aquifers. There's a whole bunch of other unrelated mechanical aspects of water. There's also contamination in water, which the company doesn't mind because they can profit off of cleaning our water. We want them to protect our water and not let it get contaminated, so we don't have to pay the surcharges for cleaning it. So we have to look at water differently than other utilities. And one of the concerns we have is, I don't know whether there's expertise on your board. From what I've read, I don't see the expertise in water usage. And I think that the Department of Health needs to be brought in and fully participating in this rate case and in any decisions regarding Rockland's water. And so I'm asking you to bring them on board on this rate case and on any decisions regarding how our water is distributed and sold back to us, Rockland County users. And my last point is, we have a lot of questions, as you can hear. And I know I submitted quite a few questions. I already know that I've seen other people who have submitted questions who have gotten no responses, basically. It's being told that question is outside of scope, that's too broad, we're not going to answer it. If the Public Service Commission isn't going to answer the public's question, what's the purpose of the Public Service Commission? I ask you to answer our questions. If you don't know the answers to the questions, that's fine, we can understand that. But let's then discuss what or how to find those answers. Let's have that conversation. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for transparent, open discussion with the PSC and the commission to really make sure that we get Rockland's water right for a sustainable future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shapiro. Next registered speaker is Joe Beckerly. Joe Beckerly?
Joe Berkeley, if you have, okay, I see him.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, thanks for taking a few minutes and letting me speak here.
No problem. Thank you.
I live in Rockland County. My family's been here for many generations. Also own a small business here in the county, and I certainly understand the impact of inflation. Everything's going up. Taxes, costs of everything. You go to the grocery store, you can't miss it. But in my opinion, the cost of water here in Rockland is actually very affordable. When I get my monthly bills, that's the least of my bills. When you want to talk about other utilities like gas and electric, you want to talk about gas for your car, you want to talk about any your phones, your television, whatever. Those are all outrageous. But I find that the water bill for the amount that we have and what we use it for, that's actually, in my opinion, pretty reasonable. Um, I know Veolia is new and they took over for Suez, but I know it's a lot of the same um, people who are carried over, the same management, and I think they, as a Suez company, they were doing a great job here locally, and as Veolia, they're doing a great job here locally. I understand they're going to invest a ton of money in infrastructure, up to something like $500 million, which is sorely needed to be able to provide and continue to provide the services and upgrade the systems and still keep the cost of water relatively low. And again, the lowest of by far of all my monthly household bills. I think we can trust Veolia. I think, we need more companies like Veolia that are good corporate citizens and good for our community as corporate citizens. And we can trust that they will rebuild and build and work on the infrastructure of their systems and help with all sorts of different things in our community. So, we love Rockland. It's a great place to live. We want to preserve the quality of life. And I think Veolia, as again, a corporate citizen in our community, will do a great job, reliable service and affordable service. And I think we're lucky to have them. And like I said, the bottom line is, I'm somebody who's willing to pay a little bit more if that means we will have good quality service. And I think in this case, it's reasonable. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beckerly. The next registered speaker is Glenn McCready.
You hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes. Thank you for having me today. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I'm a business owner and customer in Rockland County, and I would like to extend my full support to the Veolia water rate case filing and continue to give my gratitude for the great success that Veolia Water has and will continue to provide. What many people don't remember is that, there were multiple water systems in this county that were slowly aggregated under, the original United Water umbrella. And since then, that aggregated system has transferred ownerships, which we all know, Suez and now Veolia. But that does not, take away from what that company's goal has been, is to provide clean and sustainable water to its customers. In a county like this, in Rockland, which is ever expanding in its population, companies like Veolia are vital to continue to provide the technical resources and slowly, integrate the system into the 21st century like it should be. So I fully support the rate case, and I think that the PSC should look favorably on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCready. Next speaker is Vivian Rollins.
Vivian, if you have called in, please press *3 on your phone so I can locate you.
Sangeeta, I'm seeing Vivian on the list that I have at the very bottom. I don't know if you see the same list.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Thank you. My name is Vivian Rollins. I've lived in the county since 1984, and as was previously mentioned, went through a number of different iterations of different companies taking over the water resources. And I think the merger purchase of Veolia from Suez has actually benefited the county because both companies are very, very well thought of when it comes to water resources and knowledge about water. And so we have the best of both companies having a lot of the same employees as well. And I think that that's a good thing that we need to take into consideration. I also feel that there are a few points that should be noted in considering the rate case that I'd like to mention. Veolia's been very active and committed to the communities, both Rockland and Westchester and some of the other areas that they service. And their efforts to support the people who were struggling through the pandemic were certainly noteworthy. I believe it was mentioned before that there's a low income program from Veolia. And as we came out of the pandemic, there were a number of low income households that were really struggling and had bills that were in arrears. And Veolia contributed 30% of the balance that was in arrears for more than 60 days for those active residential customers. And I can tell you, I have firsthand knowledge of a family that was really having a tough time, and we're extremely grateful to be able to take advantage of that support. So that's something that I think is certainly noteworthy, and they're looking to continue and perhaps expand. Also, something that I don't think a lot of people are aware of, and I think that should be of note for the rate case as well and consideration. Veolia has donated $20,000 to each of 3 local Rockland and Westchester hospitals, totaling $60,000, to Montefiore Nyack, Good Samaritan Hospital, and Montefiore New Rochelle. So their commitment to their community really continues and will be expanded. And I think that's something that we should take into consideration, and I definitely support this rate case. So I thank you very much for hearing my thoughts.
Thank you. The next speaker is Jacqueline Drexler.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Well, I wanted to thank all of you for this opportunity to speak today to Judges Clark and Marino and to Commissioner Majori. Thank you for the opportunity.
No problem. Thank you.
You're welcome. So first of all, I must say that having gone through the stress of proving to the Public Service Commission that the desalination plant that had been proposed by then Suez, with Suez having provided misleading and false information to the PSC on the sustainability of the Rockland water supply, and with the PSC falling for that and not doing their due diligence, we are still and forever paying off a debt that was a debt from a private water company, part of their bad decision making. I would like an answer to this question, and I know you won't answer it now, but I'm hoping that it will be answered at some point. Is Veolia collecting our taxpayer money on the cost of the failed and denied plant, including the 7% interest rate? Secondly, I wonder if this PSC is aware of the DOB, which Susan Shapiro mentioned, the Oversight Board for Indian Point decommissioning, and if anyone there has connected those dots and realized that dumping this tritiated water into the Hudson River can have very serious consequences. So she already mentioned that it was proved that tritium was found on both sides of the membranes for that pilot plant. And also, she didn't actually say this, but it is a very ecologically sensitive habitat, the Havistraw Bay, for the Atlantic sturgeon, and that's where the water comes to. And so as she said, and I just want to reiterate because it never hurts to say it twice, the desal has never been taken off the table, and that this tritium-laden water will be, it takes 120 years for it to decay to the point where it's safe. So let's just say for the next 100 years, if that happens, we are going to be having tritium wafting back and forth in front of our area, in front of Rockland County, and especially at the Havistraw Bay. And so I believe that the PSC must enjoin in the dumping of this radioactive wastewater from Indian Point, because as it goes downstream here into Rockland, it is actually a higher level of tritium. And so I'm requesting that you take the desal option off the table. Thirdly, what is this harmonization? It's such a lovely word. I feel it's the greenwashing of a privatized company buying up other distressed water companies. And that what harmonizing means to us is that we will be paying higher rates for Veolia to own more and to use our money to fix another's problem while they make a profit on the interest rate and make money on their newest infrastructure project, because that's what all utilities do. They make money on their infrastructure projects. As an aside, I also request that the PSC review once again letting Rockland County have and be its own water authority, paying off $55 million for a failed and denied desal plant, along with the exorbitant rate, the interest rate, and having just had the 4-year rate case, which was, I think, 34%, and now this rate hike of 14% is costing Rockland County residents hugely. And we actually have stinky, undrinkable, unbathable water with contaminants that are dangerous to everyone. And Veolia, just like Suez, has not really even gotten started on the remediation. They get extensions and they cite supply chain issues. That might be true, but from what I understand, it's going to take many, many, many years for the PFAS to be cleaned out. Lastly, we are paying the highest rates for water in New York State while we are actually getting the worst quality water from a company that for years now has not mitigated the water quality issue of the PFAS and other contaminants, does not have a climate resiliency plan, has not worked on their conservation plan. And there's more, which other people have touched on, which Paul touched on, and which Susan has touched on, and other people have. So we are getting slapped upside the head with another rate hike, and I feel it is grossly unfair. Your role, PSC, should you accept, is to protect the public from usury by utilities. Please reject this proposal in whole, and please do your job. Protect us from exorbitant rate hikes, and let us protect our resources here in Rockland County. They are so small for so many people that we really need to protect our water. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is John Mulick. John Mulick, if you've called in, please press *3. If you're a call-in user, please press *3. John Mulick, we can identify you and unmute you. Okay, I'm going to move on. We'll come back to Mr. Mulick. The next registered speaker is Barbara Roggensinger. Again, Ms. Roggensinger, if you're a call-in user, please press *3. Looks like we have a hand, Sangeeta.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please identify yourself.
Hi, my name is Barbara Wagensinger. I'm a resident of the town of Orangetown. I wanted to say thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak. I wanted to express my support for Veolia's rate filing. The reliable water service that Veolia provides in Rockland County is critical to the high quality of life that we enjoy here in Rockland County. Not only does the company do great work with our water, they are also a very charitable company. In this case, Veolia is proposing to fund a low-income program with $1.5 million to help residents who are struggling financially. They are also contributing another $4 million to offset the impact of inflation and rising costs from affecting customers' water rates. I think Veolia is a great company, and we are lucky to have them in Rockland County. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next registered speaker is Rudolph Zada. I'm sorry, but Ms. Robinsinger, if you could press *3 again. And Sangeeta, it seems like we may have Mr. Zada on the line.
Good afternoon. My name is Rudy Zoda, and I'm a lifelong Rockland resident. And I'm calling to thank Veolia for its commitment to the future of Rockland County.
I'm sorry, Mr. Zoda, we lost you there for a second.
All right. Am I back on now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure where I lost you, so I'll repeat. My name is Rudy Zoda. I'm a lifelong Rockland resident, and I'm calling to thank Veolia for its commitment to the future of Rockland County. I read in the newspaper that Veolia is planning to invest nearly $500 million in upgrading the water infrastructure over the next few years. Investing in infrastructure has many benefits. I believe it will improve the quality of the water service, if not the water itself, perhaps. And it creates jobs, and these jobs also have a positive impact on the county and the small businesses that service the workers. In my opinion, the cost of water in Rockland County is and has remained affordable, especially when you consider that Veolia is investing so much money into the infrastructure. I believe they invested $440 million approximately in the last few years. And when you add the increased investment, it's going to approach $1 billion that they've invested in our community. I think it's important to be sure that this investment is included in the public record of this hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Sherry Shaw. Sherry Shaw, if you've called in, we have a hand. Sangeeta, do you see it? Okay, Ms. Shaw, I think you've been unmuted.
Okay, so you can hear me, is that correct?
Yes, we can, thanks.
All right, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. My name is Sherry Shaw. I work in Rockland County, and I'm also a resident. I just wanted to call in to discuss the Veolia Water Company. I know that some people always complain when utilities try to increase rates for customers, but I have a different opinion about this. I think Rockland County is fortunate to have a company like Veolia. And the reason why I say that is because the company is one of the largest employers in the county and also one of the largest taxpayers. I believe I saw something that they pay over $24 million in property taxes per year. On top of that, they are a global company with extensive resources to help give us the best service. And then they're also willing to invest almost $500 million in improving the water infrastructure in Rockland. Our water pipes, tanks, and meters are getting old and need to be replaced. I mean, I know I'm receiving notifications about, something being worked on or being replaced, and I feel like they do a really good job of providing those notifications about what's going on in the area. Water is still very affordable. in comparison to other utility bills. So, I think people kind of just have to understand that rates need to go up a little to help pay for any improvements that are made in the water system. And that was all that I had to add today.
Thank you very much. That's it for the registered speakers. I will go back. I don't believe they're here based on what I see, but just in case, Terry Thal, if you are participating via the phone, please press *3. We can identify you and unmute you. Same goes for John Mulick. Terry Thal or John Mulick, if you are on the phone, please press *3. Sangeeta, I'm not seeing anybody. Are you?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to move on. I'd like to again thank everyone who registered in advance to speak this afternoon. We'll now open up the hearing to anyone in attendance who would like to speak but did not pre-register to do so. If you would like to make a statement, please click the raise hand icon in the bottom right corner of your screen, or if you're a phone user, please press *3. Either option will enable us to identify you and unmute you so you can make your statement. Electronic users, the procedures are on the screen for pressing that raise hand icon. If you're calling in and would like to make a statement, please press *3. Sangeeta, I don't see any hands. Do you? Okay, I'll give everyone one more opportunity to use the raise hand function if you want to make a statement at today's hearing. For electronic users, the instructions are on the screen. Should be an icon in the bottom right. If you're calling in and would like to make a statement, please press *3 on your phone. Okay, doesn't look like we have any takers. I'd like to again remind the members of the public that they may submit public comments throughout this proceeding by the other means described earlier and in the notice of public statement hearing issued on April 14th, 2023. We request that comments be filed by June 19th, 2023. We will be holding additional public statement hearings this evening at 5 o'clock, as well as next Wednesday, May 17th at 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. Judge Moreno and I would like to thank everyone for their participation here today, especially staff of our Consumer Services Office and our court reporter. The hearing is now concluded and we are off the record.
We are off the record, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Everybody have a nice afternoon.
You as well, Your Honor.